How's it going, everybody? My name is Snazzy Patty, and today we are checking out a video by Mixed Spoons. This video is called Which Zombie Apocalypse is the Deadliest? As always, the link to the original video will be in the description below. Now, personally, if I had to answer this right off the bat without watching this video or with just my base knowledge on the zombies and the different apocalypses, I gotta go with World War Z or Last of Us. And Last of Us because it's a fun guy, pretty hard to cure, I'd imagine. I'm pretty sure I've heard that there is no cure for it, like in universe. And I mean, obviously we know that because Ellie didn't work out. Like Ellie's whole thing wouldn't have worked anyway, sacrificing her and shit. Shouldn't have to say spoiler alert on that. It's been out for years. But anyways, and then there's also, like I said, World War Z, just because those are straight up PCP bath salt level zombies. Man, they are insanely strong, and just they're terrifying. All right, they're fucking terrifying. But without further ado, let's lock in. Let's get into this video.
This video is sponsored by War Thunder. You're going to die.
Okay,
This is
damn,
the reality
no hope
you
for
face
us.
as the news reporter repeats the same sentence that made you shit yourself.
Yeah, it would appear there's a viral infection turning people into fucking zombies, and they're eating people, and they are definitely coming for you next. The infection seems to be most prevalent in Florida. Yeah, so if
I'm good. I don't live in Florida.
you live in Florida, you are F-U-C-K. Fucked.
We're
Who
good.
gives a shit? We're all
I'm
dead.
good.
Several thoughts scattered through your mind. Who do you call? Is this real? Which religion predicted this? Do I have enough food? Does this dude think he's Bisley? What the fuck? But soon there is only one.
What would your guys' like? What would you guys do? Like first, this just that you're in this scenario. What are you guys doing? I mean, I feel like I'm first things first is I'm obviously checking out my windows, right? I got to see what's going on and see if it's hit me yet. If not, cool. I'm calling my family and having them on speakerphone while I'm running around the house, basically packing a to-go bag, filling up the sink and bath with water, and I'm ready. I'm hunkering down for a good week or two. And then say if nothing happened, if it gets figured out after 2 weeks, grand. If not, that's why we packed the bag to go.
Question that rattles around your brain on loop.
Look at you contemplating all the different factors, but you forgot one thing to ask yourself. Aren't you a little bit curious? What kind of zombies are outside your house? Yeah.
See, that would be, yeah, like that. Like if a zombie apocalypse were to happen, I would be worried. Yeah, like, are we dealing with the Walking Dead? Because if so, I favor my chances against them. Against the people is a different thing, and the elements of the survival and or surviving in the wilderness and all that, you know what I mean? But the zombies themselves, I think I could handle. Now, if we're talking Last of Us, where you got the stalkers, bloaters, and clickers and shit like that, and then you got the, World War Z, yeah, I feel like, yeah, no, I'd be fucked.
It ain't fun ones, I'll tell you that. Oh my god. I should call my kids.
This video did not come out of nowhere. As many of you know, I am completely obsessed with zombie culture.
Hell
and
yeah.
This obsession has been there since I was a young kid. I always gravitated towards zombie media for one major reason, and that's that I kind of always wanted to know what kind of man I was deep down. I yearned for introspection.
Dude, honestly, okay, we're only at 1 minute in, and alright, I gotta chill with the yapping. But anyways, real quick, I've always been into zombies and the apocalypse as well, but not necessarily zombies specifically. I mean, I love zombies, that's definitely my preferred and my favorite, but in general, just dystopians, worlds, universes, IPs, books, movies, games, whatever, I love that type of shit. Just because, I don't even know why I like it, it's just you get to see the struggle and the real base raw human emotions, of having to deal with such a force, I guess.
And the zombie apocalypse was a great avenue for this. I was always morbidly curious about what kind of person I would be if arguably the worst type of apocalypse happened in real time. Arguably the worst. I know we got some of the road watchers in here. If zombies started to rise up, would I have a fighting chance? Would I be a beacon of hope, or would I be a coward?
Realistically, most of us would be cowards. If my dreams are anything to go off of, I'd be good until I'm put into a situation I'm not confident in, and I'm gonna freeze and panic because I'm just gonna literally I'll be having nightmares on Apocalypse or whatever, and I'll be chilling, doing my thing, and then I get to a point where I'm like, I'm stuck. What do I do? And I'm like praying this is a goddamn dream and that I'm gonna wake up or something. And thankfully, so far, I have. But one day I might not, and that's gonna be terrifying because I gotta, nut up or shut up and figure it out right then and there.
I'm leaning towards the latter, but the most fun part of that question was, depending on what piece of fiction you were sampling from, that discussion varied wildly. Crawlers, walkers, infected, Zeds, Darkseekers, mummies, possessed, White Walkers, ghouls, and whatever the fuck Junji Ito created, because
The
oh
hell
my
is
god.
that?
So I could never get a straight answer to that question. And while it was fun, it always left an itch in my brain I couldn't scratch. But what if we did get an answer to that question? What if we broke down each zombie apocalypse based on the lethality and danger of the infected themselves, i.e. their speed, their strength, if they have different variants of themselves?
Then we would move on to the R naught of the virus, which is just a fancy way of saying how fast does this motherfucker spread and take over its host.
Then finally, the durability of the virus. Things like how long does it take, if they do at all, to starve to death? What is the location of the area they're based in? And how hard is it to just fucking kill them? I mean, like, do you have to shoot them in the head, or can you shoot them in the heart, and that works too? I mean, God knows many of us aren't even going to be able to pull the trigger. Once all of those factors are established, we will then give each apocalypse a case fatality rate, or a CFR. Pretty cool, huh? Well, it's actually not cool. It's just how many people are dead. There is not a single person on this planet that can give you a more well thought out and unhinged as fuck take on this matter. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, come back over here. You're right where you need to be, all right? Well, are you ready? Let's fuck.
Whoa.
The Walking Dead will forever hold a special place in my heart. Even though I had stopped watching around the season 7 or season 8 mark,
I am a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I don't keep up with it as much anymore with the spin-offs because the spin-offs suck. I'm gonna be real. Daryl Dixon sucks. The ones who lived, that sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I really didn't care for it. I mean, it was okay. Um, and in Dead City, I kind of enjoyed, but Maggie is just constantly repeating her arc, and that is just repetitive and very, very fucking annoying to deal with. So, but besides that, I love The Walking Dead, man. The cast, the show, the comics, the video games. It's just a pretty good show. It's a pretty good IP, I'd say.
I still thoroughly loved my time watching this show. When the show first aired, I was 10, and I always thought back to those nights where I would sneak downstairs at Sunday night at 9 p.m. to watch AMC's new Halloween special. And my mom would catch me and she would tell me to stop doing that because I was 10 and this is not something a 10-year-old should be watching. Shortly after, I scored a 19 on the ACT. That is not a joke. My mom sent me to math camp like the weekend after. While I was hooked on zombie media before this show existed, I would be lying if I told you it didn't sink the hooks of addiction deep into my brain. If you remember what I was talking about earlier about introspection, learning who you are, I loved this show so much because you got to live vicariously through the characters, and you got to linger with the decisions they made and the consequences of their actions for like 11 fucking seasons. I love zombie films so much. I'm telling you the truth. But you don't really get to marinate with the characters. 9 times out of 10, they're dead by the end of the movie, or they are just left on.
Yeah, see, I don't like zombie movies quite nearly as much as shows. And I mean, I feel like that's just in general. Like, I don't enjoy movies nearly as much as shows because shows give you way more time to get, there's way more time for world building, way more time to see character arcs actually fleshed out, real chemistry and relations between, the actors and stuff, not like off the screen or behind the scenes, but like their on-screen chemistry. It's a lot more time for everything because obviously a movie is restricted to only a couple hours at most, while a TV show can run on for decades.
Some cliffhanger ending, and you think, can't wait for the sequel. Sometimes they don't come out. Sometimes they don't come out. You get to think, which of these characters embodies me the most? For me, it's probably Noah, because everybody ate Chris. My My sister won't speak to me anymore. So obviously, I have thought quite extensively about this apocalypse in particular. Now, many of you probably have a zombie in mind that would absolutely stomp the shit out of the walkers. And you're probably right, and we'll touch on those here in a second, and a lot of them, yeah, the walkers can't really hold a candle to them. But I would be willing to bet that you
Season 1 Walking Dead walkers, different story. They could run, climb, pick up items. That was completely different. All right, they would give me more of a challenge. That's 100. I would have a. I would say there's a good 65-70% chance I'd die. Because realistically, even if it's not to the zombies, I would die in the apocalypse. Most of us, 99% of us would. Let's just be blunt with it. So, what I think, but like if it was the actual like just me versus the zombie, I think I got a good. They're still uncoordinated. You know what I mean? They're still decomposing in uncoordinated bodies. All right, I think I have a better chance. I think I still have like a 60-40 I win, like 60% I win.
might be surprised at how fucking dangerous the Walking Dead apocalypse really is, mainly for one reason in particular, which we will get to here in a second. But first, we gotta pay some bills. This video is sponsored.
Skip. Jesus Christ, how long is this ad? Get your bag, man, get your bag.
Hobbit sang, who gives a shit? Here he is. But first, let's cover their strength and speed. How do they rank? Not the greatest. They're pretty slow and dumb as shit, but weirdly enough, they didn't start out that way. Early on, in like the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead, the walkers were kind of fucking fast. And also, hang on, let me check my notes. Oh, right, used fucking rocks. This is mainly because as the years went on, the bodies of the walkers started to decompose and break down. And
That's always how I made it logic, headcanon for the show to make sense. Realistically, they just changed show directors, I believe, or showrunners, or whatever it was, and they just went with a different creative, path.
they lost a lot of their agility and vigor. Or the new writers of The Walking Dead just didn't watch the show before they applied for the job.
Because the reason why that wouldn't work, though, realistically, is because even if that was the case, that would be suggesting that all these walkers we're seeing in the show have been turned for a while now, when that's not true. We've seen, we in later seasons, you see people who turn and then are instantly in that same state, you know what I mean? Slow, not as decomposed, but they are slow, dumb, and the classic zombie from The Walking Dead.
That's an equal possibility as well. And they also used to like hella aura farm. Like, do y'all remember this dude? Just this zombie, just staring Rick down. He had no interest in eating Rick. Every other walker wanted to rip him apart. This dude was just aura farming. This is never explained.
Did
and
he
this never
really
sat
make
right
that
with me.
many
Now,
appearances?
even in later seasons, they're not a cakewalk. These things can easily overwhelm you because they travel in packs. One will bump into one, and then those two will bump into another. Now it's a group of three. They'll bump into three more, and before you know it, you have thousands of these things, and they fuck everything up in their path. And they have maybe the strongest desire out of most of the zombies on this list, because once they lock onto you, they do not give a shit about anything else. All they care about is hunting you down and ripping you apart. But interestingly enough, they do have a little bit of mental processing power. If they feel like they cannot bite you, they can't eat you, and they can't infect you, they will simply not try. This is best showcased when Michonne cut out the jaws of the walkers, also cut off their arms, and they just kind of like stopped giving a shit. Didn't even
I would just go with this approach. Honestly, you would never catch me without my walker friends. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have figured that out. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have sat there and been thinking, you know what, I'm going to sit here and cut off the jaw and arms of these zombies right here, and maybe that'll work. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be no reason for me to even attempt this.
get aggressive. Now, I'm not saying that's a strategy you should implement, because who the fuck is going to do that more than once? But an interesting weakness this zombie apocalypse has is a not so easy but readily available camouflage. If you have the stomach to cover yourself in undead zombie guts, and you better hope it's not going to rain, you actually can sneak through massive hordes without detection. Of course, you might catch some other kind of virus doing this. Doesn't seem to be the case because I don't think anyone's gotten sick from walker guts, but still, I wouldn't just fucking do that randomly. Now, if you're sitting there and you're still thinking none of this is a real issue, okay, you might be right. But you forgot to take into consideration the one scary aspect of this apocalypse. The scariest.
The spread and the R naught. You see, just by existing in this universe, you are already infected.
Now, this does not mean you're going to turn. You either need to get bit by a zombie, and then I guess the added virus into your...
No, it's the bacteria that it causes infection that kills you, gives you a fever and shit, and then that's what speeds up the process.
bloodstream will then give the current virus in your immune system the boost it needs to then reanimate. I don't know how the fuck it works. Or, in a much more disturbing way, if you die from anything other than head-related trauma, you will come back as one of these things. And then you join the army. You can plan everything perfectly fine, but you better hope you're not epileptic by the time the outbreak starts, because you get into a car accident, you then start eating people. I hope you're having fun, and I also hope you're not eating dinner right now. A virus that is airborne but lays in your system dormant, not the worst case scenario, it's just not the best. So while you may be safe from the active threats around you, you have a ticking time bomb in your immune system. So I would give The Walking Dead a 4 in lethality, not the scariest zombies, not the most threatening, a 7 in durability, they are somewhat tough to kill, and a 9 in virality. That's easily its strongest suit, which gives us a CFR of 6.66.
Not bad.
'Tis the season, huh? I will turn the TV off again. Listen, Hobbit man.
Were they zombies?
If you did your research for even a second, you would know that the Darkseekers in I Am Legend
Yeah,
are
they're
not
vampires,
zombies.
aren't they?
They are vampires.
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize I was watching a fucking moron. Also, I eat my own shit and I love Reddit. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, I didn't comment it, so...
Yes. I know. The Darkseekers in I Am Legend can be argued as a vampiric virus rather than a zombie one. But I have 2 points to that. Number 1, no the fuck they aren't. Zombies and vampires across the board have a very loose and ever-changing definition. Mainly because, get this, they're not real. And if we look at the Darkseekers, or the Deekies, for even a second, we realize that they are much closer in relation to the volatiles in Dying Light than they are Edward Cullen from Twilight. Are we gonna say that because the volatiles in Dying Light have a higher brain function, are also allergic to the sun, that they are all of a sudden vampires? No, we're not, Cankles, because that's fucking stupid. And my second point, if I am completely wrong about this and Will Smith himself comes up here and slaps the shit out of me, can we just be loose? Can we just have fun? Can you just go along for the ride with me, okay?
We can have fun, because... To be fair, I thought they were zombies when I first watched the movie. Actually, I thought they were zombies for almost every time I watched the movie. And then I found out through an online post that they are technically vampires. I don't know, man.
Sorry I called you Cankles. That was not... You didn't deserve that. You do have them, though. This was the first zombie movie I ever saw. My dad told me that if I got straight A's this year, I could see I Am Legend with him. I did not. But my mom didn't want to see it with him, so he let me watch it anyway, and I shouldn't have. So, after rewatching it with the sole purpose of analysis, how is this one? Well, the Deekies are a real fucking problem. They may be the smartest zombie type on this list. Not a high bar, but they do clear it quite easily. Well, that's not true. There's one more we have yet to talk about. We'll cover that in a second. Now, I don't know if you would consider the Deekies to have different mutants of themselves. There really is just the alpha, the betas, and the dogs. I'll count it, because the dogs are scary as shit. If I saw the Darkseekers in action leap over an SUV and then proceed to unleash zombie dogs at their disposal.
So it's like World War Z, but worse. I never even thought about that, because they're smart. You know what I mean? They actually have communications with each other in like a society of some sorts.
I'd kill myself. They are 100% a dangerous threat. But they aren't. That's right, I alluded to it earlier, but they burn to death in the sun. Me too, bro. I'm Irish, and I catch on fire. Not even necessarily sunlight. It could be UV radiation in any form. It kind of makes you think that, was Dying Light when they were creating the design of the volatiles, did they like recently watch I Am Legend? They even kind of look similar. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. So that means they go from easily the worst fucking problem that mankind could handle to not an issue at all. But that gives you what? Half a day? But even if you are prepped and as jacked as Dr. Robert Neville, the virus is airborne as well. That is a quick and easy way to make this discussion no longer interesting. Because you're dead. The R naught of this virus may be the most aggressive out of this entire list. We'll touch on others here in a second, but I'm willing to put money on the fact that this apocalyptic zombie virus, not only being airborne and infecting humans, but also some animals, might be at the top. Sorry. This bitch gets in your stomach and then
Yeah, the fact that it infects animals already right off the bat, that like makes it way worse. Cause I don't know any other zombie media that affects the animals as well, at least
other people
directly.
get in your stomach. So with a 9 in lethality, a 7 in durability, because while they are fast and very agile, you could shoot them in the lungs or the heart, and that would kill them. But like, good luck, because they dodge bullets.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give the first 10 of the video to this zombie apocalypse's R naught, the virality. Yeah, this shit
That's
is
fair.
curtains. Curtains. Can we move on now? Okay. Whoa, I'm sorry. I'm yelling at you. I got other stuff going on, and I'm taking it out on you.
28 days, weeks, and years later.
Sorry if this upsets you, but 28 Days Later is hands down my most favorite zombie movie to date. This was
Controversial take. I have yet to see any of them, but I do plan to. I do. I just keep forgetting to, but I plan to actually sit down, and now that 28 years later is out, I want to sit down and watch all 3 of them in a row like a marathon, just to see if it's good. Because I've heard good things, but I just know it's zombies. That's all I do know about it. I don't know anything else in specifics.
the first zombie movie to genuinely terrify me, and no other
I do know
zombie
him,
film has even
the main
come
character. I've
close.
seen him
There's
before.
a scene in the first movie where Jim goes to the church. There's a mountain of dead bodies. He calls out hello, and like 4 of them pop up with their mouths just open. They don't screech. They don't make a sound. They just look at him. And I think about that scene once every 29 days. Fuck you, I'm not saying that. And after rewatch, the movie did not lose its edge. In fact, it kind of brought a bit of a harsh realization that maybe I no longer cared about introspection. Yeah, maybe I don't really want to know who I am as a man. But I will not let favoritism get in the way of my ranking, because I don't really need to. This shit is fucked. Other than being allergic to sunlight, they have the second biggest weakness that this virus has to face. And it's a pretty crazy exploit. But firstly, let's tackle the main topic. What is their speed and strength? I would say the zombies in 28 Days Later are weaker than the ones in I Am Legend, but definitely stronger than the ones in The Walking Dead. Faster too, and they can move around during daylight. Now, this is a bit of a loose theory, but we know that they can starve to death. So I would imagine while they can go at an all-out sprint, they do run on calories, and they need sustenance to survive. We actually can see a couple scenes of zombies chasing after people, and then when they realize they can't catch up to them, they just fucking give up. Because the weirdest part about the zombies in this outbreak is their motive. They don't really care about eating despite needing to. They just want to beat you to death. The virus is called the rage virus. How fitting. But basically, the zombies, they will bite because they know that inflicts pain, but if they feel there's another way to inflict even more pain, they will do that. They will gouge your eyes out and just punch you to death without chewing on you once. But as scary as this shit is, and it is very scary, I need to ask you 2 questions. And depending on how you answer these 2 questions, this zombie apocalypse is a nothing burger to you or literal hell on earth. Are your animal rights activists dumb as shit? And do you live in England? If you answered yes to both of those, you're
I don't know about the first one. I don't live in England.
fucked. That's because this rage virus has such a fast incubation period. It takes literal seconds for you to turn. So in a vacuum, the R0 would be like a 10, but that's the biggest weakness this zombie has to face. Because the incubation period is so small, the area of infection is literally just England. Because these zombies can't get on a plane, they can't get on a boat because they're gonna turn and everyone's gonna realize they're a zombie and either not let them on or all get infected themselves, and that boat and plane goes nowhere. But I will say, this virus is a little unpredictable. I can't make truly accurate depictions because we're getting the sequel to 28 Years Later, but I'll do my best. We know that the infected from 28 Days Later eventually did starve to death. They ran out of things to eat, and they stopped moving, and they just kind of died. And then the apocalypse was essentially over. Cut to 28 weeks later, there's a reignition of the infection in England again. Sorry, Brits. So really, with this one, only the Brits are fucked. What do you like? You want some more beans on your toast? We do still have more gun violence. And after Ground Zero 2.0 happens again, the virus changes a bit. We don't know this for a while, but when we cut to the third movie in the series 28 years later, we know that the zombies are still around. They haven't starved to death like they typically do, meaning they now understand the importance of eating. So if they can't eat people, which they rarely can because everyone's on like a secluded island or some shit, they start eating like worms, and I imagine other animals. So the durability has gone up since the reignition. And also they get a new trait of just having the largest cock I've ever seen in my life. This makes it hard to gauge the durability a bit, but I would say if we break it all down, they have a lethality score of 7, an R0 score of 2.8. Unless you live in England, then it's a 10. It's a 10 and you should just give up. And a durability of 5. 6? No, 5. Giving us a respectable CFR score of 4.9.
I don't know, but the fact that it's just secluded to England or whatever makes me really want to see that now, because that's a cool take. I like that. It almost feels like, sorry, I don't know if I just yelled at your guys' ears, but it almost feels like a more realistic approach to a virus or like a zombie virus, because realistically it's not taking over the world, right? Even if it even if it didn't was like airborne and like spread around the world, we got the military. Not only if you're lucky to be born in America, do you have the goddamn greatest military force in the world, USA, but not only that, there's so many countries, that have pretty good military. And I mean, at the end of the day, what are zombies going to do against a tank? Even if you run out of shells, they're not breaking into a damn tank. You know what I mean?
Fine. If you live in England, it's a 9.2. Sorry again to the Brits, but fret not, my English brothers and sisters. There is one apocalypse that you would have the advantage in. You guys might be okay on this one.
Shaun of the Dead. I feel like I've seen this, but it's so vague in my mind. I don't know what happens. I know it's comedy. I know the two main characters in the first, or in the movie, the two bros. One's ginger, one's a bit chubbier, I believe. And the zombies are really dumb and slow, I think.
Shaun of the Dead is, yes, I got a haircut. It's
Whoa,
been
yeah,
a
wait.
while recording this, but yes, advantage. You got,
Wow. Okay.
It's been a while recording this, but now you can't call me a hobbit anymore. I know you still will. Shaun of the Dead is an amazing movie, and it is honestly one of my favorite films of all time. Much of this film's humor inspired me directly, and a lot of the jokes said in this film have latched onto my brain and have never left. The way this film seamlessly goes from a pretty enjoyable, funny film to a rather intense thriller is a tone shift I have never seen matched on any other level. I say all this, and I give my respect and flowers to Shaun of the Dead because what I'm about to say may come across as disrespectful. When it comes to a zombie apocalypse, we're dog walking this shit. this is baby mode easy. When I rewatched this film with the pure focal point of analyzing how deadly the zombie outbreak was in this movie, I have to say, how did anyone die? The zombies are slow, dumb, and spread incredibly slowly. Not only will they wait to attack for comic relief, but you can bypass all of them simply by pretending to be one of them. And not even convincingly, might I add. You can kind of phone it in with the performance. As long as you don't answer a phone call in the middle of a horde like some dipshit, you will be fine. To be honest, you can just kind of walk around at a rather brisk pace and wait for the military to show up and just destroy all of the zombies in this town, which is exactly what happens. You literally just have to wait for all of this to blow over. Really? That's where you draw the line? I'll kill you with a gun. And if you do in fact get infected, not only is that embarrassing as shit, but you can still kind of have an okay life after you're zombified. Now, if I'm being completely fair, these zombies can pose somewhat of a threat, especially when they're in hordes of like hundreds to thousands. And if you're staying in one place, like a bar, they can absolutely swarm you and destroy the walls outside and close in on you. But again, all you have to do is pretend to be one of them, and you're fine, which no one in this film does after realizing that that strategy does in fact work. I don't know if the jig is up and the zombies just like know who you are. I doubt it, because again, they're dumb as hell. Now, given that the incubation period is pretty long, in fact, we've seen one of the characters get bit and it takes a full day for them to turn. This is more of a concern than the other apocalypses I mentioned, because yeah, someone can get bit and then travel across the planet and then start ground zero.
He
all over
mollywopping
again.
the motherfuckers right now.
That ground zero is still not that difficult
With a
to
paddle.
deal with. Even if one of them was in the room
Is it a
with me
cricket
right
bat?
now,
Cricket
I
paddle?
could just kind of slowly back away and they will just not really pursue me that hard. It's not airborne. From what I can deduce, you can only get infected via bite. Maybe there's some other background lore that I don't know about. Again, if you're new here, I rarely do research on any topic I cover, but we're like approaching the 20-minute mark and you're still fucking here. But even with that taken into account,
it's a good video. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna subscribe to this dude after we're done watching this for sure.
I just don't see this apocalypse being a problem at all. This apocalypse has a lethality score of 1, a durability score of 2, and an R0 score of 3.
This is definitely the low.
And a
wow.
really funny score.
It's crazy. I really thought The Walking Dead was going to be the lowest rank and shit, but they're comfortably in the middle right now.
Of 10, giving us a CFR of 2.
Point. Just 2?
Yeah. Honestly, it's good we covered this one because it was so easy. Because the next one may be the worst
World War Z
outbreak on this list.
Let's go.
Obviously, as you can tell, I don't read that much. But the books I have read typically
I
are
have not read the
zombie
books.
What can I say? I have an actual zombie problem. I should read more that aren't related.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, so I didn't read the World at War books, but he's just talking about zombie books in general. I just bought an audiobook today. I read it like halfway through in middle school, and I never got to finish it because I had to return it. And so couldn't remember the life of me or whatever the phrase is to think of the name. And so finally figured it out. Anyways, bought it. I'm so excited to listen to it. It's called Rotten Ruin. It's pretty good if you haven't heard it or read it. I definitely recommend it. Check it out.
Related to zombie media, but I just can't stop. So after I watched World War Z, I have to say I really liked it. I liked it so much so that I actually found out that it was based off a book and decided to read the book. And I am so glad I consumed these pieces of media in that order because holy shit, the movie sucks on retrospect. The book and the movie
I've heard that.
literally nothing in common. Brad Pitt's not in the book. The book takes the perspective of like 40 different people. It takes
that's
place
sick.
after the apocalypse. The zombies are super slow in the book, whereas, as we'll find out here in a second, in the movie, they are anything but.
Damn, do I gotta read this?
I can deduce, the only 2 factors they have in common is the name and the origin of the virus, I think. I should reread the book, but that's a bit more of a tasking challenge than watching a movie. The zombies in the books are not a cakewalk. In fact, it brought us to almost extinction, but we were able to fight back because they were kind of slow and easy to outsmart. The zombies in World War Z can be more easily compared to ants. If you want a more thought out script, you might want to find a different YouTuber. They
Oh
will
yeah,
climb
I'm gonna get
over
the book.
one another
I'm
to
gonna get it.
vault buildings, and they are fucking relentless. They are insanely fast and have excellent scary timing. They almost have some weird form of innate communication with another, so they will typically bundle up by the thousands. So unless you're an expert marksman with a drum magazine, and even then you probably don't have a shot, you are dead as hell within an hour. But that's not even the scariest part about these dudes. The freakiest, most unsettling part about these zombies is their motive. The zombies on the list we've
Just
covered so
spread,
far
right?
either want to beat the shit out of you till you're dead, eat you and devour you and repeat the cycle, or find their lost loved one. Oh my god, they're vampires. Oh fuck. Not the zombies in World War Z. These guys are literally all about business. All they want to do is bite you once, infect you, and move on. They have no interest in devouring you, no interest in dismembering you. They literally just want.
Which, in my opinion, is extremely realistic. I don't know if it's the same in the book, but I love World War Z's whole that spoilers. Don't know if I should have to say that. I really don't think I should. But anyways, that the zombies, right, the virus, they will only go for healthy hosts. So say if you are like in the movie, there's a at one point the herd is running through a group of people and going through ravaging the shit, right? But there's a kid in the crowd who has cancer. It's like obviously he's bald, has no hair everywhere, like he got radiation treatment. Anyways, they literally divide around him. Like he's Moses splitting the Red Seas pretty much. Like he is invisible. It's like a camouflage because he's sick. He already has a virus and it might take him out before, you know, the zombie virus can spread to a new host, so it's not going to bother wasting his time. I think that is so cool to me because that seems extremely realistic. You know what I mean? Because viruses, they are alive. I doubt they have thought processes, but just like other animals and things like that of that nature, and animals and fungi and plants, there's instinct. They do things on their own. You know what I mean? Like how we breathe on our own without having to think about it.
Want to spread the virus as fast as possible, and that is unsettling. Bite, infect, repeat. And the infection takes seconds before you turn into a zombie. Of all the zombie viruses we've covered, these are the only ones that act like an actual virus in human form. And given that the infection takes seconds for you to turn, this is where we enter a bit of a conundrum. Because despite having a very short incubation period, this virus managed to spread across the entire globe, which I feel like I'm fighting the writers here a little bit, because if someone were bit, they're not gonna have time to hop on a boat, a train.
Yeah, no, it was literally like 12 seconds. He sees a guy get bit. I almost just. Anyways, a guy gets bit and he watches it turn, and as he's doing it, there's a kid's toy counting down from like 12 or something. So it's like it takes like literally like 12, 11 seconds, something like that.
A car or a plane to travel to a different country. People are going to know that you're turning into a zombie almost immediately, and you're not going to be permitted transportation anywhere, which is always why I found it so fascinating that someone got bit, hopped aboard a plane, after they got on the plane, then went to the bathroom, and then turned into a zombie. And they did it very
I never
quietly,
even
might I
thought
add,
about
and they
that
just
too.
waited till the perfect time to jump scare the shit out of you. In real life, this doesn't make sense, and 28 days later tackled this very conundrum perfectly, because they just said, yeah, the virus can't spread anywhere past the island. Literally only England is infected. So if we're looking at this from a realistic perspective, really the only area of concern is where the infection took place and the surrounding countries. And given that we know the infection started in China, it would spread to only, oh my god, that's fucking
That's
half.
actually,
well,
yeah.
sorry, Asia and Europe. And if they can
I'll say,
spread
hold
even,
on.
well,
So in the
China,
movie, right, if it starts in China, right, I don't know if that's actually where it starts, but we start in America, right? We go to the Middle East somewhere, I forget where. Um, and I think we go to a northern European country up here in the movie. I think we go to China. Yeah, then the rain, that one rainy scene with the scientists. Yeah, yeah. That's always something that's really cool to me is just seeing how other countries and cultures deal with or try to beat and survive, with the apocalypse and shit like that. That's why I really did want to try to get into Daryl Dixon because he's traveling and shit like that, and I really liked Fear the Walking Dead because they, at least in the early seasons, we're going all around Mexico, Texas, California, and that was pretty cool.
It would spread to only, oh my god, that's fucking half. Well, sorry, Asia and Europe.
And
And if
Africa.
they can swim even a little bit, then Africa, you're also fucked. I'm sorry.
No
England, you're safe.
way,
Can
isn't
swim
Africa
half.
and
Well,
aren't
so
isn't it?
it would
I'm
spread
sorry,
to
I keep going
only.
back and pausing, but isn't it connected right here, or is there a river or something? I thought Africa is connected to Europe and Asia through the Middle East.
Oh my god, that's fucking half. Well, sorry, Asia and Europe. And if they can swim even a little bit, then Africa, you're also fucked. I'm sorry. England, you're safe though. So hey, that you get to sit one out. You earned it. You were kind of taking a beating there for a second, mate. Little bit of Italian crumpets for you. A bibbity bobbity getting on it. But the incubation time is not this zombie's biggest weakness. The biggest weakness here is that these zombies absolutely require a healthy host. If you are already sick, either terminally or just have a cold, the zombies aren't going to the zombies aren't going to fuck with you. So if you can plan a defense and you fill the front lines with people with like strep throat or some shit, they will essentially have a temporary camouflage against the infected and they can just kind of mow them all down, which we see at the end of World War Z, kind of setting up a sequel. That it should be coming out any day now. Because of that, it brings us with a lethality score of 7 and R naught score of, since technically it wouldn't go through the world, but it would be damn near close, I would also say a 7. And a durability score of 4, because them as they are rather tough to kill. I'm not arguing that, but again, my immune system hates me as much as this guy does, so if I get sick as often as I do now, I might be all right. And this leaves us with a CFR score of 6.
Oh, Train to Busan. I forgot about this
Koreans
one.
know how to make some amazing fucking zombie movies. I would know because I was born in Seoul, Korea. That's actually not a joke. I actually was. I came late to the zombie Korean media zeitgeist, and I will forever be angry about that. And with Train to Busan, I was also late to this train. Which is also
Ew.
weird because it has one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh,
in
this
the
was
movie,
such a good
Ma
movie. I
Big
can't
Dong
believe I
Suk.
forgot
That's not his
about
actual name,
this.
but it might as well be. If I were judging a zombie apocalypse with the idea that we are all Ma Big Dong Suk, then no zombie apocalypse would ever be a threat to us because this guy's a fucking monster. This dude just fucks. Look at the way he stands. You could tell he just fucking puts it down. The Train to Busan zombies operate, I would say, very similar to the Walking Dead zombies, but just juice to the tits. They can sprint, they're very strong, and they have the motive of just wanting to eat you. They operate in strange ways. They kind of will either hibernate and just kind of stand still until there's some kind of visual stimuli. And the visual stimuli is important because another weak part of these zombies, if they can't see you, they literally have no interest in motor function whatsoever. You can kind of cover their head with a tarp and they'll just kind of like stand there and freak out a bit and you can kind of get away. Now, they typically bundle up in the thousands, so I hope you have a lot of tarps, but it's still something to take into account. All you have to kind of do is turn off the lights, and if you can stomach it for a little bit, you might be all right. There's no forethought or planning to these bad boys. It's simply just kill, 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 but they are quite motivated. We see them just climb on top of each other, and they've got by far the strongest grip strength out of any zombie I've listed here, with the exception of maybe one. But still, there were like 3 zombies holding onto a train with hundreds of other
Yeah,
zombies
no.
attached to them,
This
and
movie
they still couldn't kick them
actually
off for
was
like
creepy, or
minutes.
disturbing to
That's
watch,
insane. Now,
to
the
think about
spread of
this.
the virus is pretty limited to Korea.
I also really like this because I don't know if it was the zombie deer virus that was the start or cause of it in this movie, but I do remember the scene, And in 6th grade, I had done a research project and presentation on the chronic deer virus, or whatever. I forgot what the actual official term is, but zombie deer virus, pretty much. I thought that's pretty cool. And so, if you don't know about that, though, definitely look into it. It's a prion disease that affects the brain of the well, I think all prion diseases are neurological, I believe. But anyways, it affects deers, and it's pretty fucked up.
I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I've seen this film, and I didn't have the streaming service available to rewatch it, so this is all from the old dome. So I would give The Zombies in Train to Busan a lethality score of 8, a durability score of 7, and an R0 score of 3, giving us an average of... I didn't write it down, and I'm not good at just quick averages like that. Look, if we're being honest with one another, we're not really surviving any of these, except for Shaun of the Dead. But that's not really the discussion I wanted to open up here. I wanted to know which of these apocalypses have the strongest argument for you to die versus the weakest argument for you to die. And at the top of the list of most fuck shit that there's no chance of survival...
World War Z or Train to
it's
Busan?
gotta be I Am Legend. I mean, this
Really?
one is insane. Sure, they can't
Damn, I
come
forgot.
out
Yeah,
during the
that's
day,
true.
but they will hunt you at night. Not like you better not be out in the street during
No,
nighttime.
they will
Like
hunt.
they'll just rip houses apart looking for you. I started this video with the sole goal of wanting to find out what kind of man I was, and it spiraled into this fun video.
Damn, I really didn't like that though. Seriously? The vampires? Oh, that sucks. Anyways, guys, I'm going to watch the rest of this video afterwards just because I want to see what he has to say. But anyways, this has been a long reaction. I know I yapped a lot. But I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the longer video. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. As always, the original link to the video, or yeah, link to the original video will be down in the description below. But anyways, I've been rambling a lot. I've been yapping a lot. So I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay snazzy, and stay blessed, guys.